everyone. Welcome to Berry Chat with Dr. Sayat, where we have honest conversations about weight loss surgery, healing, and hope. I'm Dr. Alvin Sayat, a bariatric and foregut surgeon, and also a bariatric patient myself. This podcast is about understanding the science, the stories, and the people behind metabolic surgery. So settle in. Let's chat. Welcome to another episode of Berry Chat with Dr. Sad. This is part of our series of the patient's journey. I have with me Drea. She's one of our nurses here in the clinic who has also undergone bariatric surgery, but I don't want to steal her thunder. So please introduce yourself and tell us about your journey.
Okay, so my name is Drea. I had the duodenal switch here at our practice in 2021. At that time frame, when I came for my first appointment, I weighed 533 pounds, which was an eye-opener for me because I had never weighed that much. But then again, who really wants to get weight on the scale? I decided to go through with the whole surgery because it was pretty much everything I tried didn't work, from keto to Atkins to just exercising and working out. So this was kind of my last hope to save my life, and I'm glad that I did it. I got down to 161 pounds with the help of my tool and the dedication of counting macros and working out and everything, to the point that I was able to have a panniculectomy.
All right.
So
Great. So my first question is, did you know about bariatric surgery beforehand, or when did you know about it, and when did you make that decision that you're like, yes, I need to go pursue this?
So actually it was right before COVID. I went through another bariatric office in this area, and it was kind of like I needed help. I knew I needed help. And so I reached out to them, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, your BMI is too high." And I'm like, "How can my BMI be too high? Like, that's the reason I'm coming to you." But they told me I needed to lose 100 and some odd pounds to get to the BMI they wanted me to be at, and then they would operate on me. So I kind of gave up then. And then when the one person that supported me the most, which was my aunt, died from COVID, I was like, okay, there's no backup plan for if something happens to me for my kids who are both special needs. So I was like, okay, I look at this a little bit more seriously. And my sister actually found Dr. Tan and was like, I think you should give it a try. I know that they told you this or that, but he seems like he would be really down to earth. So I was like, all right, I'll give it another try. So then I came here, had the appointment. He was really down to earth. It was actually somebody that finally listened to me and wasn't just like, you're just morbidly obese. You need to go lose weight. All your problems will be fixed if you just exercise and worked out all the time and ate properly. And I'm like, I've done that. It gets old because I'm not losing any weight. I don't know what's going on with me. And then I would starve myself, which that was never good either. So I was just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. It's where he sat down and was like, you have metabolic issues. That's your problem. That's not your problem, but that's what's going on. Your body's fighting against you. And I was like, okay, tell me more. So then I did the whole workup and everything. I did a lot more research on bariatrics because I never had surgery in my life. I mean,
so this is your first surgery ever?
I don't count your wisdom teeth as a surgery because they're like, oh, you had surgery. I'm like, no, I haven't. And that's what they told me. Yeah, this was the first surgery I've ever had in my life. And actually every surgery I've had has been with him. So I did more research. I decided to change my diet and everything ahead of time so it wouldn't be such a culture shock. And that's what I tell patients every day. Like, hey, change your diet now. Stop, drinking with your meals. It won't be so bad afterwards. And so that's what we did. I did. I convinced my sisters too as well. We've all had surgery here. But yeah, that's just kind of what I did. And then I had the surgery. And then I was one of those patients that was like, no carbs. Absolutely no carbs, never. And for the first 6 months, it was worse. It was horrible. I had no energy. I was tired, this and that. Finally, the dietitian was like, what are you eating? Like, let's talk about that. And they're like, oh, no, you need carbs. Got them good carbs in me. And then it was just smooth sailing from there.
Okay. All right. Great. And so what's been your total weight loss?
72 pounds.
That's amazing.
And 72 pounds and 10.5 pounds of skin. Just skin.
Just skin. Wow.
Just skin. I had him show me pictures.
How has the surgery changed your life? Like what things, because people talk about, it gave their life back, but also that new doors open that they never had before. So what was that experience for you?
Well, first off, my job being a nurse, it was hard to tell somebody to diet and exercise and lose weight when I was morbidly obese myself. So it helped me with my job. I ended up landing a job here. I am passionate about bariatrics, so I actually get to help people. But at the same time, I'm able to go do things with my kids. I don't want to stay in the house all the time. I don't want to not go to events for the fact that here comes the morbidly obese person that everybody's going to stare at. Or if you go out to eat with somebody, you're looking for your route to get in and out without bumping into people. It was just constant anxiety. And it's not like that anymore. If someone's like, hey, do you want to go? I'm like, yeah. I've done 5Ks. I've done things that I probably would have never done before.
Mm-hmm.
My next goal is to do the fly ice sky thing.
Oh yeah, I haven't. I saw that.
I keep saying it every time. I'm like, I want to do that, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I want to do that as well.
But as a morbidly obese person, I would never be able to do that.
Right.
So I'm like, I can do it now. Like, so now I don't really have like, oh, I'm too big. Because I used to hide behind that all the time. Like, oh, I can't go, I'm too big. Or that, and then flying. I want to fly again without having to use the seatbelt extender.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's funny you brought that up. That was for me my breaking point. Like I remember that was my rock bottom, was when I was on a flight and I had to like whisper to the lady that I needed the seatbelt extender, and it just was like I was so embarrassed, and that's when I knew. I was like, okay, like I can't live like this anymore. Like I can't do delay, because it was like medical school residency. I was like delayed gratification. It's like, okay, I'm gonna die before I even make it to the end. Like I can't keep doing this. So yeah, I definitely hear that.
A lot of people were really confused on how I became a nurse, because they're like, they let you work like you weren't like a liability being that big, and I'm like, no, I did my job fine and everything, but I went through nursing school and all that. And you think that would have been, and that was my eye-opener the second time around with my RN program, because I did LPN first. And I was like, something's got to change. Like, you got to do something, because you're miserable. Your kids are miserable. My daughter was starting to pack on some weight and everything. And I'm like, I don't want her following in my footsteps. Fortunately, genetics got her other things. So she's actually going to be doing bariatrics next year.
Oh, okay. All right. But she, like, I guess your kids seeing you and your family going with you in that journey, like they supported you, and was it a positive impact for them as well?
It was, because I got them to try new things. And then I got them in the kitchen. So they love making chicken nuggets, and it's just the can of chicken, egg and cheese and whatever seasonings. So they make their own nuggets and stuff. But I kind of shifted a lot of it to be bariatric friendly without them knowing it. So it's actually been helpful to me, because I'm not cooking 2 different meals.
Nice.
So that works. Yes. And my daughter's excited. So.
And then how has it changed in terms of like your work?
So work, actually, I work here now. Right. So I get to help patients on their journey every day. And it's nice, because it's like, at first they're like, oh, you don't get it. And I'm like, oh, but I do get it. Like, I get it. I've been there. Like, let me tell you, yes, it's hard in the beginning. You have to push yourself. You have to make yourself do things. But once you make it a habit, like the joy that you see afterwards of dropping the weight and everything that you get to do, it's just life-changing and completely like something I never thought would be. I never thought I'd be under 200 pounds. My goal was to be half my body weight. So I wanted to be like 265. And then when I got under that, I was like, okay, let's see how far I can go. Then I got under 200 and I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, this isn't normal for me. I mean, in middle school, I was over 200 pounds. So I couldn't tell you the last time. But it was nice, because as I got smaller, I could share clothes with my kids. Yeah. And so now I can wear my son's clothes. So it's just different. But with assisting people every day, it's actually like makes you want to come and do your job. And it makes you want to help people. And it's like, I'm here for you. Like, I literally understand you. I get it. And so they're more receptive to their actual journey. And then they will call in and ask for help.
Yeah, I'm sure that connection, them knowing that you've been there and you're not just giving them, just advice and lip service like that, it must make the connection go deeper.
It does.
Have you seen that actually occur, like with your interactions with them?
Yes, I will have patients now that technically are under another provider that will call specifically to speak to me. I will have times where they will come into the office and be like, hey, is Drea available? And the girls will message me and I'll go sit with them. Or even some patients that are coming in and they're scared. Obviously they weren't the size I was, but they're just like, I'm not going to lose that much weight, whatever. They'll be like, hey, can you go talk to somebody? And I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to them and I'll wait. And they'll be like, did you have surgery? And I'm like, yep. And then I show them my picture and they're like, that's not you. And I'm like, it was me. Like, I'm telling you, like, this is a life-changing surgery. As long as you use the tool of your weight the way you're supposed to and follow everything your doctor says. That's the biggest thing. Please follow what your doctor says.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, we're trying to help, and all the things that we advise, like, have a reason for that.
Exactly.
We are, this is evidence-based medicine for sure. And going back to something that you had said earlier, doing clinic with Dr. Tan, there's something like a spiel he says to all the patients, which I'm going to adopt, and I really like up front, your first visit, talking about that this is a metabolic disease. Like, this is not just calories in, calories out, like you were just, undisciplined. I mean, yes, are some people, undisciplined? Yes. Is the American Western diet like bad for weight? Absolutely. But there is definitely a genetic component, a metabolic component. It's a multifaceted, complex disease, which is why there's not one simple solution for it.
Correct.
Even bariatric surgery is not like the magic bullet, although it's the best thing that we have. It's a multifaceted problem.
But I like the fact that he always explains that, like, this is a metabolic disease. This is just like cancer. This is
Yep.
just like high blood pressure. If, and in terms of like, oh, go lose weight before I do your surgery, something we were talking about yesterday, you would never go tell a cancer patient, oh, well, go lose a little bit of cancer, or go get your cancer a little bit better, and then I'll
Yep.
operate on you. Now, there are people who need like neoadjuvant chemotherapy. That's a different discussion, but
Right.
you treat people, and just like those diseases, this is a disease that we treat as well. I think, and
Completely agree.
watching and seems like from your interaction and the interactions I've seen with other patients, that really puts them at ease and makes them feel like, okay, like it's not like someone I'm here to get shamed or blamed.
Yep. No, I totally agree with that. And genetics plays a big component, and people don't understand that because they're like, oh, that's not real. That's not. I'm like, it absolutely is. I come from 2 parents who are obese. My grandmother died at like 50 something. She was morbidly obese. And that's where everybody in my family was worried, because like I was as big as she was. And I'm like, she's not even up in age. But I tell people, like, my sisters did the same surgery. We're all under 200. We've all been successful with this. My brother was morbidly obese. He got diabetes and then realized, I got to do something. So it is genetics that plays a big role. And a lot of people do not understand that, because they're just like, oh, you just feed, eat what you want, feed your kids whatever, and then that's why it happens. And it's like, no, there's really a component behind it. And I'm glad that it's starting to come to light more. And there's more studies, because it's getting out there and people are starting to recognize it as a disease versus they're just lazy.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing there.
For sure. Tell me more about like your pre-op, like how was that frustrating, like going through the insurance, or needing to change your diet up until the date of surgery? Like, how was that for you?
So it wasn't too bad. Mine was like straightforward. They told me exactly what I was going to have to do. I did have to lose 5% of my body weight, which at first I was like, okay, I'm over 500. Like, this is going to be, let's see. But they mapped it out for me, and they told me like what I needed to do. I was successful with that. Since I decided that I wanted to change my life and I wanted to have this life-changing surgery, I went all in and was like, you're going on a bariatric diet. You're going to try different bariatric foods. You're going to portion control everything that you can and go from there. I set a water, hydration goal, this and that. So going along those steps with having to do my psych and then my nutrition appointments and this and that, they really prepare you for what to expect. The only thing that I do wish in the bariatric world is more psychiatric or therapist type appointments because of transfer addiction, which that's a whole other topic. But a lot of people aren't aware of it until they're like full blown in it. So I had done research, I knew about it and everything, but it was easy because I stayed along the path that was given to me, and they broke it down on a piece of paper. So I just checked it off as I went through and got it done, and then it was just waiting for insurance. But I ended up losing 42 pounds before surgery, and that was just with movement inside. Because I didn't want to be outside and be seen, obviously. And then changing my diet. And I did the whole take away the spoon, the fork, and all that, and the time in between your bites. If people were to do that, they would be a lot more successful right afterwards when they move on to the pureed and soft food stage. And they're like, oh, it's too hard not to drink. It's because we're taught you drink. People drink when, my parents gave us a lot to drink and stuff like that because it fills you up in that moment. So I took that away. So it wasn't hard for me. And then craving the sweets and stuff was already gone because I had already taken it out of my system. So that worked out really well. And then Dr. Tan was really excited for all of the transitions that I made. And then afterwards, like I said, it made the whole transition smooth.
Okay.
Once the surgery happened.
Yeah. There's a lot of prep work. And we talked about it in previous episodes about the pre-op class, the nutrition class, etc. Do you think those things, you were, you kind of have like an insider scoop and you were very motivated, but you think those things helped you?
They did. Because at that time frame, I was still like trying to like find my footing and figure everything out. So it helped having the nutritionist and be like, okay, so this is what I'm doing. Like, what do you recommend? Like, I'm trying to get to here because this is where I need to be. And then she's able to say, okay, post-operatively, I do want you to know that this is what you want to, make sure that you have in your diet that you're doing. I like the fact that she didn't give like macro goals. Or Dr. Tan didn't give a weight goal, because I feel like that really messes mentally with a lot of patients when they don't meet those goals at the time frame. So I'm thankful that we don't do that. But yes, it helps having that. And then the psychiatrist that I saw was like, very blunt and forward, which I appreciated because she's like, do you understand that you're going to have to do this? Do you understand that this is what's going to happen to you? Like, do you understand that you have to have a support system? And that's the biggest thing I tell people, because a lot of people don't want to tell people they're having surgery because of the shame and the way that mainstream media makes it seem like, it's the easy way out. It's not. It's not at all. I always tell people, go on a liquid diet for 3 days and then come back and talk to me. But you have to have that support. And I felt like within those appointments, I was able to go out and talk like with my family and everything. And I was like, okay, I have the support I need. That's the biggest thing. So in those conversations having with them, which they got down to the nitty gritty, I was like, okay, I know how to talk to my people to make sure that they're on board with me. If they weren't, then I really didn't care, but I had the support that I needed. And that's the biggest thing that a lot of bariatric patients don't have. And I was thankful for the support here because we had the dietitian for a year for free.
Yeah.
Well, for the whole program, really. And a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And then there was a lot of support here because obviously a lot of us have had surgery, whereas some people don't have that at their office. So like, I can't call. And I'm like, you can, but
yeah,
it helps.
I'm glad you brought that up because I've gotten questions before in like emails about bariatric surgery. And one of the things that comes up is people say like, oh, is this cosmetic or is this the easy way out? Like, can you touch on that?
It's not. I tell people all the time, if you think it's the easy way out, I want to see you do a 2-day liquid diet around everybody eating whatever they want and you can't have any of it. See how well that messes with you mentally, because it's tough. Like you have to have the mental strength to be like, this is what I want. This is what I'm going for. I'm going to stay on path. It's not the easy way out. Imagine having to go through an EGD, all these appointments, having half of your stomach possibly removed, intestines rearranged, everything, not knowing how your body is going to react. Because basically after surgery, you're learning how to eat all over again, just like if you were a kid. You don't know what your body is going to do when you have this food absorbed in, where it's going to go, how quickly you're going to go into the bathroom, whatever it may be. So it's a lot to deal with. And it's mentally a lot to take on.
Yeah.
Because not only are you still trying to do your everyday life, if you're a mom, you're doing your mom stuff. If you're working, you're doing that. You have to accommodate for all of that and still be successful on your journey. You still have to make sure you're meeting everything to make sure you keep yourself healthy. So it's a lot, and it's never the easy way out. Even though people say that, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But
for sure.
It's definitely
I agree with you. Like your whole, for me, at least my journey, like my whole relationship with food changed. The way that you approach your day-to-day changes. Like just the fact that you can't, have a drink and eat with your friends at the same time, that you have to choose one or the other. But, at the end, I agree with you. Like the results, everything, it becomes so worth it that it just becomes your new normal and your new baseline. And it gets you to a place of life you didn't even know about before.
Yeah. Like I said, I never would have thought I would be this small. Never would have thought I would have had all these surgeries I have. But it's life-changing. And I always tell people, like, if you're thinking about it, go have a consultation. It doesn't cost you anything. Go speak to somebody, but don't let it be somebody else telling you, oh, you shouldn't do that. That's their body. This is your body. So you have to be in control of your body.
Yeah. You have to be your own advocate. Tell us more about your experience, like in the hospital when you woke up and then post-operatively when you went home, those first 2 weeks, like or that first month, like how did that go?
So when I woke up, I had that moment like, am I dead? Because it was all white lights and I saw nobody, heard nobody. There was like, I had no sense of sound, anything in that moment. And I was just like, okay. But then the nurse came. And so then my throat was so dry, I kept saying, I need some ice chips. Well, she gave me too many ice chips to where all of a sudden nausea hit me like quick. And she's like, you're cut off. And I'm like, okay. So it made me have to stay down there longer because I had to be medically stable to move to the floor. When I got to the floor, I was like, okay, like I'm just like waiting for them to like take me in my room. And they're like, okay, get up now. And I'm like, what? I just had surgery. And they're like, no, get up. You're going to walk. And I'm like, I know y'all said we were going to walk after surgery, but this is like literally right after. And so I'm thankful they did that because it gave me the courage to want to walk after I had been in bed. But yeah, I went in there. I slept most of the time. Nausea hit me pretty well to where I did have an episode of emesis. And that wasn't good. I took my meds, slept most of the time, and then I got up when I could, started walking. Because I have stairs in my house, I was like, hey, can I see physical therapy to make sure that my walking, I almost said gait, so that my walking is okay, because I am a big person. I just had all this done to me. And they were like, yeah. And so then I thought, I'm good. Like they said, you can walk alone. You don't have to have nobody. So I was like, I'm good. And then they came in. My white blood count went through the roof. So I didn't get to go home. And I was like, I only want to be here one day. I don't like hospitals, but I had no choice. Stayed there. It actually helped staying that extra day because I got on a more regular routine of getting in my fluids, little medicine cups. I highly suggest keeping those and set up 4. Those are your 4 for an hour. So I did that, went home, was nervous about going up the stairs, so I made it just fine. I did sleep in my bed the first night, which is unheard of, apparently, because people sleep in recliners. I don't know. I just elevated pillows because I didn't have a recliner at the time. So there wasn't as much pain as I thought there would be. Deep stitch was the only pain. And everybody has that pain.
Yeah,
until it dissolves, everybody has that deep stitch pain. But I kept my binder on, everything. It was a lot more conscientious thinking of my movement. Because I was like, I'd never had surgery. So I'm like, am I going to like mess up, do I have my sutures on the inside or something going to pop? Or like, I don't want to go back to the hospital because my mom was in town and I had some kids. And so I was like, okay. As the days went by, though, like I was a superstar. Just my mom was like, "You need to slow down. I think you're moving too much." And I'm like, "No, they told me to move." She's like, "Not this much," but I mean, I walked and everything. The first 2 weeks, the hardest part was getting the fluids in with the protein, because I didn't realize that I stocked up on Premier Protein. It sits very heavy on a DS stomach and some bariatric stomachs. So I felt full to the point I wasn't able to drink. And I'm like, I'm going to hurt myself, like whatever. So I ended up thinning it out with water. And then I switched to a thinner shake. But those first 2 weeks were rough. It was like, I felt like a zombie, even though I was doing everything I needed to. I did fine when I came to my post-op appointment. That was good because I wasn't on a scale. I said I was going to stay away from the scale for 3 months because I didn't want that to be messing with me mentally either. And so when I saw that I had lost weight, I was like, okay, I'm on track. I'm good.
Yeah.
So the first 2 weeks are the hardest. If you can get through the first 2 weeks and you can get on a regimen of getting your fluids in and getting your protein in, you'll stay away from dehydration.
Yeah. And that's honestly, for everyone wondering, what's the most common reason for coming back to the hospital? It's not because something what happened with the surgery. It's because you're dehydrated. You didn't drink enough.
Yes.
And then before you left, we had Kyle and Heather on the show talking about the post-op, they come visit, go over everything, even though you've already done that pre-op. Was that helpful?
It was, because they gave you a book and everything. Kyle wasn't working at the time when I did mine at Menorah. But the person that we had, she came in, she gave me her number, she checked on me. I like the fact that even though I was like, I think a week probably post-op, they still called to check in. I'm like, are you doing this? Are you having any issues? This and that. Like, they were still trying to be the liaison between the office and me, even though like I knew I could call the office. So that was great. And then, I got suggestions like, okay, well, why don't you try doing this? Because I went through a week of those shakes just feeling miserable and pushing myself to drink them. And even though I didn't, it just felt full all the time. And that's when she said, well, why don't you thin it with some water? And I was like, okay. And then I ended up switching to a thinner shake when I realized, reading the back of everything that was in there.
Gotcha. And then since you had the switch, did you experience a lot of the GI issues that can come with that?
At first there was, and it was just because I didn't know how my body was going to react. I highly suggest always keeping a journal. I had a journal. I didn't introduce a lot of foods at once because I wanted to know how it was going to react in my body. And that way I would know if I was going out somewhere, going to a family function, what I could and couldn't have. Half the time, though, for the first 18 months, I just brought my own food. Because I was like, I know what's in it. So I did have a lot of, I had the bloating. I had the constant issues with running to the bathroom, depending on what it was. And I would just stop it and then wait and try it again a month or something later. But yeah, so I did have a lot of those issues. Now, not so much. I've learned my body. I know everything.
And it's kind of like readjust it to a new set point.
Yep.
Okay.
And I know what will make me go.
Okay. So what we're talking about is that Drea had the switch, and so that's like the Hail Mary, the most powerful bariatric surgery that we have, which gets an excellent amount of weight loss. However, because we're bypassing so much of your intestine, you have to be careful because you can get dehydrated with a lot of diarrhea because things are moving through. But that tends to resolve on its own.
It does. And then the other thing I think I tell a lot of DS patients is you have to stay on point with your vitamins.
Oh, yeah.
Because
let's talk about that.
Yeah, you have to stay on point with your vitamins because even though you think you're getting it in through your nutrition, you don't know how quickly your body's absorbing it or how quickly you're pushing it out. And that's the biggest reason, because I still tell patients today, do not eat and drink at the same time, because whatever you just put in, you're just pushing it right through. And so your body's not getting it. But yeah, vitamins are a big key. I do the ProCare 1 a day. They have 1 a day now. It was 4 times a day when I first started, and I was staying up until midnight to make sure to get all my vitamins in case I missed it with my calcium. So I do liquid calcium now 1 time a day, and then I do the 1 a day. And then because I do tend to have a tendency, we've shown the pattern of my ADEK, at least 2 of them are always low. I do the high potency ADEK now, which we're going to recheck next month to see if it helps. I've been doing that faithfully. But yeah, vitamins are a huge difference. And if you don't take them, trust me, I've been there. I've done that. You can feel it.
You'll feel it.
You'll feel it. You'll feel it right away. And you're just like, dang, what is wrong with me? And I'm like, ooh, I haven't been taking my vitamins.
Yeah.
So.
Because that's, again, besides the GI stuff, that's something that we always counsel people that, you're getting the Hail Mary, you get the big gun bariatric surgery, but with that comes all the malabsorption. So you got to be diligent about taking your medications. And then the ADEK specifically for the switch, because of the fat soluble, you really got to boost it up with that. Has that really, at this point, been like an annoyance taking all the vitamins, or?
No, not at all, honestly. Because now the 1 a day, it's a lot easier for me. I mean, I'll do my calcium first thing in the morning, and then I'll do my vitamins when I get here, because I keep my time in between my multivitamin and my calcium. So I just take 2 of those, and that's it, and I'm done. So it's not hard. Like, they've definitely made a lot of strides in the vitamin section when it comes for bariatric patients, especially those that have to take extra. But yeah.
And then the other thing I want to pivot to and ask, because it's something that I experienced, so I just always like, how did your cravings change after surgery?
Yes.
Like, and then how did like your relationship with food change?
So I was one of those people, I started fixing my relationship with food because I knew I was going to fail. I knew if I did not get to the root of my issues and fix the relationship with food, I was going to fail, because I was going to want to eat everything. And I'd be that person that tested my body. Okay, I can have this. It's not going to cause an issue. I'll keep doing it. I mean, I have everything in moderation now because I don't deprive myself of anything, but I can walk past anything that I like and not have it, not think about it, because that's what a lot of people do. But my cravings after surgery were honestly weird, because I craved vegetables. I had salads and stuff prior to, but I wanted vegetables and steak. I don't know why. I am iron deficient most of the time, so maybe that's it. But and then as time goes on, my cravings still change. Like, sometimes now I'll be like, I might want some kind of a chicken that I've had before that I normally don't have, because I normally just have rotisserie chicken, roasted chicken, baked, air fried, all that. But it might be something different. Like, sometimes I want like the Mediterranean type chicken. And it's weird because it hits me out of nowhere. Hummus is another one. I never ate hummus
before surgery.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, hummus. Like, I love hummus. And I will eat it with cucumbers or carrots. I don't have to have the pita.
Yeah.
Like, the bread and the rices and everything sit too heavy on my stomach, and they make me just feel bad. But it's just different, because as your time goes on, mushrooms, no. Not before surgery, absolutely not. But I will now. It's weird, because it's like, and my mom's like, are you eating a mushroom? And I'm like, yeah, it's actually really good. And it's just, everything changes. And I tell people, like, yes, in the beginning, people are like, oh, my taste buds are changed. Like, people say water tastes like copper or like a penny. And I'm like, I didn't have that. But my cravings still change to this day. And there's stuff that I crave before that I don't crave now. There's stuff that I liked before that now you give it to me and I'm like, And this was after surgery. So it's like, it's constantly changing, but you definitely have to fix your relationship with food while you're on this journey, which is why I say people should probably do more therapy, because you're getting to the bottom of it. And that's where you're going to get your triggers, your trauma, all that got you to that point that you're going to have to deal with. And that's a lot to take on by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Something Dr. Fearing talks about when she sees her patients, which I think is a good like reminder, is that, your relationship with food was not a great one beforehand. And then you use it as like a comfort, as a way to like numb the pain, etc. I know I did.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, once that's taken away and you physically can't use it anymore as a comfort, you all of a sudden actually get more depressed and have more grief, because that Band-Aid you had is gone and you have to face the issues that you were avoiding before. So I think that's like a good reminder for them so they don't get surprised after surgery. Was that something like, do you agree with that? Like,
I agree with that. I mean, I didn't have the issue, but I deal with it with patients all the time.
mhm,
I'm calling. I mean, I'm like, I get it. I was like, you don't have that capability anymore, and now you are like full front and face with whatever it was that you were using to cope. You don't have that coping mechanism, and you just feel so lost. Like, what do I do now?
mhm,
So yeah, I mean, I help patients do that all the time. And I didn't experience it just because I started my journey earlier
mhm.
on because I wanted to be successful because this was my last hope. It's either
Yeah,
deathbed or this. So
yeah,
I chose this, and I've been successful. So
yeah.
I
No,
talk
that's
about
great.
it all the time.
That's great. No, yeah, I follow you on Instagram, and it's you're very prolific, and I think it's inspiring. We have the same philosophy of getting, educating the community and like breaking barriers, et cetera.
Yeah,
So I was happy to get you on the podcast so, we can talk more about this. And then the
absolutely.
other thing that you mentioned, which I think ties back to what Dr. Tan talks about with his patients was, the whole cravings, the fact that you have cravings that you had, it's like, I mean, I can't speak to it because I've never been pregnant. I'm not going to get pregnant, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
the fact that women, when they're pregnant, they have cravings they didn't have before. It's hormonal.
Yes, it
So that also
absolutely.
mirrors obesity, where like this is a metabolic disease because things that you were craving before, you no longer are craving after surgery, and now you have new cravings. That's not input output
No,
discipline. That is directly like a metabolic hormonal thing
change.
that
Yes,
changed that's happening to you after surgery.
it was. And it was shocking to me because I was just like, why? And I actually had an appointment with him and he was like, what's new? And I'm like, I'm craving salad and I don't know why. And he was like, so have a salad. And I'm like, there's no protein in it. He's like, but add chicken to it. I'm like, but I have a small stomach. Like, it's not going to hold it. He's like, eat your chicken and eat a couple pieces of, your salad. And I'm just like, I was really like honed in on my macros. So, I mean,
Mhm.
I did it, but I was just like, okay, like I can do this. But it is completely different because it's just like, and that's the best way to describe it. It's like when you're pregnant and all of a sudden you're like, why am I craving this? And it's like your hormones are changing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was a shock for me though afterwards because I was just like, this is some weird cravings.
And then another question for people have after surgery is, we are always telling them how much protein you need to get in, how much water. Like what were your challenges with that, and how'd you overcome it?
So I think my challenges in the beginning were obviously that the protein shake set too heavy. I tell all DS patients don't do Premier Protein just because it does sit heavy. I did a lot of research. Whey protein isolate does break down better in a bariatric stomach and it doesn't have all of the other things. But um, it was a lot at first. I mean, at first I got in a routine because I knew I was going to eat 5 times a day. Even though if I wasn't hungry, I still ate 5 times a day because you're not going to have that hunger hormone.
Mm-hmm.
So and if you don't eat anything, you're going to feel like crap.
Mm-hmm.
So I had timers. I use the Bariatric app. I'm still a big avid user and a big like pusher to use the Bariatric app because it was made for bariatric patients. It has more than just tracking things in it, but it would remind me for my vitamins. It would remind me to hydrate. It would remind me to, it's time to eat. And I kept everything with me in little small portions. I have little bento boxes that I would
Mm-hmm.
take along with me, just to make sure that I stayed successful and I never fell behind because I felt like if I fell behind, I was going to fail. And then in my mindset, the way things used to be prior to was, okay, if you didn't do it there, you got to do it next time. So I didn't want to have to double up on something and potentially hurt myself or hurt my journey. So I just timed everything
Mm-hmm.
until it became a habit.
Yeah. And then, the Baritastic app, I didn't know about that until I came here
Really?
to the practice, because I remember tracking things with my fitness pal and being like, okay, well, I got to take this with a grain of salt because I can't eat this many calories, but at least I'll track the macros. So when I found that out, that we were telling patients about this here, I was like, how come nobody ever told me about
Oh,
this?
it's an amazing app.
Yeah,
You get to
it's
set everything that you want. You set your goals and you get to see everything go along.
mhm,
The biggest thing I think patients need to do too, measure yourself.
mhm.
A lot of people aren't told to measure themselves.
Yeah.
And you can't lose weight and lose inches at the same time. So they'll be calling me like, I'm in a stall. And I'm like, did you measure yourself? Because your body's probably losing inches. So that was pretty amazing to see because ironically, I haven't measured in some time now.
Mhm.
I haven't measured since I had my panties. So it's going to be lots more. But I had lost over 200 inches from
Wow.
the start until I got to before my panniculectomy.
Wow.
Yeah.
200.
So it's like I need to measure just to see now, but I still have so many more surgeries to go to get rid of
Yeah.
the skin, but it'll come in time.
So you mentioned the panty. Can you educate the viewers, like what exactly is that? When do we offer patients that kind of surgery?
Yeah, so it's where we remove the excess pannis hanging skin that a lot of people get rashes from. Because once you drop that excess weight, it's below the belly button, and it will rub against the thighs, the legs, the inner areas, and it will become discolored. You'll have the rashes that, can turn into infections and this and that. We like our patients to be, before we start the process, at least 15 months post-op. We want you to be at your maintenance weight that you want to be at, but a lot of insurances we're running into want you to be close to a BMI of 30. Like they've really switched that down, which is crazy because I was under 30 and I started at a 94.4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he would have did mine at 40 and I said no. I wanted to be.
What BMI did he do your surgery?
What he did surgery on me, I was 94.4.
Oh, he did the surgery.
Yeah, for my DS.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
but when he did my panniculectomy, I was like 28.9.
28. Okay.
So that's why we were curious to see how much skin we were going to get off. Yep. So we will go through 3 appointments. They have to maintain their weight. The insurance wants to see if there's too much fluctuation, then insurance will be like, oh no, they're not ready. And we don't want to waste anybody's time. But we educate them on what's going to happen, what could happen, just because we are removing usually a large amount of skin. And then we just take care of them post-operatively after the skin removal, the binder, and going over all that. And they get medications ahead of time to try to help with the infections and things. And if we swab them and they have an infection, we're like, hey, it's not you. It's just, this is why we're trying to work you up for this surgery, because when you have that excess skin hanging over, you have a good moisture area for bacteria to grow.
Yeah.
Because they love that area. So that's what, it's a pretty easy process as long as your insurance pays for it.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we tell patients, call and ask under your plan. Because if you say, do you cover? Well, they cover it, but you don't know if it's under your plan. So we don't want to work you up for it and then it's denied and just wasted your time.
Yeah. And we're, although, we're doing it for a medical reason. I mean,
correct.
This is not like a mommy makeover, tummy tuck.
Correct.
Yeah.
We explain that very well. Your incisions, how they heal, we don't know what it's going to look like. But if you're wanting something that's cute, bikini style, like tight, everything like that, you might want to look into plastic surgery, because this is medically necessary to help you, get rid of the rashes, not have to deal with the weight of the panties hanging down, and things like that. It's not just something that's for vanity.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, 100% agree. Just like bariatric surgery itself.
Yes.
So everything we do is for a medical reason.
Correct.
And then, afterwards there are, we do refer people out to cosmetic surgeons, plastic surgeons for the rest of the things that, is not medical, that is cosmetic, for the arms, legs, etc. So we do, funnel patients towards that. But the panty
Correct.
is the medically necessary one, to help make sure that you're not having the low quality of life, from the panniculitis.
Right. After losing a massive amount of weight.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is great. What's one thing that you would like to leave everyone with, the patients listening?
Just know that this is your journey and no journey is linear. So don't compare your journey to somebody else's, because sometimes people will have the surgery and they will be slow and steady losing weight. Some people have massive amounts at times, but at the end of the day, you have to own your own journey. And you have to take into account that what you have going on in your life as far as comorbidities, other things somebody else may not have. But at the end of the end of the day, this is your journey. Own it. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. We gave you a tool. I didn't do surgery, but you were given a tool. So use your tool the way it was supposed to be used, and you have no reason not to be successful.
Love that. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is another episode of Barry Chat with Dr. Sat. We'll see you next week.
I still can't say it.
Thank you for listening to Barry Chat with Dr. Sahat, where we have real conversations about surgery, healing, and hope. If you found this episode helpful, please take a moment to like, share, and leave a review wherever you listen. It really helps others find the show and join the conversation. If you have questions or topics you'd like me to cover, you can email me directly at drajsahat@gmail.com. And if you'd like to stay connected, follow the links in my link tree, right in the podcast title, for my social media pages, updates, and educational content. I'm Dr. AJ Sahat, and this is Barry Chat, real talk about surgery, healing, and hope. The information in this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice. Everyone's health situation is unique, and decisions about bariatric or metabolic surgery should always be made in consultation with your own physician or healthcare team.